So sometimes when I get a big group like this, I'll look at the kids and I'll say, hey kids, would you like to ask Santa some questions? And of course, the kids always want to ask Santa questions. So instead of asking if you want to ask questions, I'm going to tell you some of the questions that they ask me. One of the biggest questions that I get asked is, what happens if I wake up and I catch you leaving presents on Christmas Eve? Has anybody woke up and caught Santa leaving presents on Christmas Eve? Let me tell you, you might have already caught me, but you don't know it, and I'm going to explain why. You know, when I go deliver presents on Christmas Eve, first thing is I got to land on the roof, and I go down the chimney. Now that would be the blue fairy dust. The yellow fairy dust. Yep, it's the yellow fairy dust that gets me down the chimney. Because I'll tell you, have you ever seen a chimney? How many have a fireplace? Well, you know, if you go and look up in the fireplace, that chimney's only about this big around. How am I going to fit through that? That's what I'm going to get to. Yeah, how do I get... That's right. It's the yellow fairy dust that gets me up and down the chimney.
It shrinks you and gives you wings.
Some people ask me, what if I don't have a fireplace? Yeah. What happens if I don't have a fireplace? Well, you know what?
You use the front door.
Yeah, but you know what? How do I get in the front door?
You use...
Let me check my other pocket here. Let me check my pocket. I might be able to tell you. Yeah, here it is. You know what I have? I have a magic key. Do you know this key will open any lock? I can open your front door. I can open your back door. And that way, if I don't get to the house and you don't have a chimney, you don't have to worry. I'll still be able to get in. I use the magic key and I come in through the front door. Now, remember what I said about you might catch me? Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you, I'll tell you what happens. When I come into your house, sometimes this happens. I might come down the chimney, I might come in the front door, but you might have heard those sleigh bells. And I'll be sitting there in front of the tree. And while I'm in front of the tree, I'm putting presents under your tree. And I might hear, Santa. And there you be, right behind me. And you're going to be saying, Santa, is that you? And yes, that means that you caught me on Christmas Eve delivering your presents. So do you know what we do? Well, I asked a whole bunch of kids one time, what happens if you catch me on Christmas Eve? And you know what? You know what I had some of them say? Some of them said, one little girl raised her hand. She said, my daddy told me that if I catch you on Christmas Eve, that you would throw black pepper in my face and my eyes. And while I was trying to get it out, you would disappear. And you know, the same time there was another little boy, he was over there. And he said, my daddy didn't tell me anything about the black pepper, but he told me that if I catch you on Christmas Eve, that you would disappear and all of our presents would vanish too. And I thought to myself, wow, that doesn't sound very nice, does it? No, it's not very nice. So, you know Santa's nicer than that, right? Yeah. I wouldn't take your presents away. So here is what actually happens. If you catch me on Christmas Eve and I hear that, Santa, is that you? I'll come over and I'll take you by the hand and I'll lead you over to where I was and I'll look at you and I'll say, where does your mom keep the extra cookies? And do you know, every child knows where mom keeps the cookies. So we'll go and we'll find those extra cookies, and I'll get a plate. Because now you remember, you left me a plate of cookies and milk, right? Yeah. So I'll get those extra cookies and I'll put some extra cookies on the plate.
Got some extra carrots.
And, well, not for this. We'll put some extra cookies on the plate. Then I'll go to the refrigerator because everybody keeps their milk in the refrigerator.
Yes.
And we'll pour you a glass of milk. And I'll take you over to the couch. And I'll sit you down on the couch and I'll give you the plate of cookies and I'll give you the glass of milk. And I'll go get my plate of cookies and my glass of milk, and we have a cookies and milk party. Oh, yeah. How would you like to have a cookies and milk party with Santa? Yeah. So we have a cookies and milk party, and you know what else I do? I let you ask me any question that you want to ask. Now, before I came there, let me find out something. If I know what your answer is, where were you before I got there? You were in, and you were fast asleep, right? You were in bed and you were fast asleep, and now here we are having a cookies and milk party, and you ask me any questions that you want to, and there will come a time when I have to leave. Now, when I have to leave, here's what I do. I reach into my pocket, and I pull out my little case, and inside my little case, there's a white feather. Yeah. There's a white feather, and I take that white feather out of my case because this is a magic white feather. When I drop that magic white feather, immediately you'll find yourself back in, you'll find yourself fast, and in the morning, do you know what you're going to remember? Nothing. That's right. And that's what happens when I drop this magic feather. You'll be back in, you'll be fast, and you'll remember nothing. However, now that you know the story,
Santa,
let me tell you what you want to watch out for. Okay. What you want to watch out for is when you get up on Christmas Day, and you go down to the tree and you want to get your presents, well, take a look where you left the cookies and milk for Santa. Because how many glasses of milk did you leave me?
One.
How many plates of cookies did you leave me? One. If you see more than one glass of milk, empty glass of milk, and if you see more than one plate, maybe you have brothers and sisters, so there'll be one for each of you. If you see that, then what you do is you go over to the Christmas tree and you look down on the floor. And if you see a white feather, then you know that you had a cookies and milk party with Santa. Yeah. And you go, yeah, we had a cookies and milk party. And of course, if you see the feather, you realize that when I dropped the feather, you were back in bed. You were fast. And you got up in the morning and you remembered. But now you know that you had a cookies and milk party with Santa. Now,
Santa, how do you get a feather?
No, these are magic feathers, and they only work, by the way, you can't take it, pick it up, and use it because they only work once. Once I take the feather out of here and I drop it, when I go to the next house, the elves send me a new feather, just in case somebody else wakes up and catches me leaving their presents, all right? Now, I'm going to tell you something else. A long time ago, probably around 200 years ago, maybe 170 years or 180 years ago, there was an old man. This old man was sending me a message, said he wanted to see me. And I said, okay. So I sought this old man. His name was George. Now, George and I got together, and he had a little Christmas ornament. And it was clear. But inside the Christmas ornament was a white feather. And what he told me was that when he was just a little boy, that he got up one Christmas morning and he found that white feather in front of the Christmas tree. Now, he couldn't remember what it was for. He didn't remember why it was there, but he knew that it was something special. So he took that feather and he put it inside a Christmas ornament, and every year for the rest of his life, he hung that ornament on his Christmas tree. And he had it right there in front of me, the ornament with that feather in it. And he said, Santa, I want to give this to you because I want you to show this to all the boys and girls in the world, you know, how special this white feather is. And that's what he did. He gave it to me. I said, you don't want to give that to me. You know, it's been something that you put up every year. But he said, you know what? I'm getting near the end of my life, and it would be special if you showed it to all the young boys and girls. Oh, and by the way, it was, like I say, about 170, 180 years ago that George did this. Oh, and by the way, do you know what George's last name was? That's right, it was George Washington. George Washington caught me leaving his presence, and I had to use the white feather, and he was back in bed, fast asleep, and he didn't remember, but he knew that white feather was special. And so he gave it to me, and that was a special gift from George to me. Wow.